Hey guys, I hope everyone's having a happy holiday season. It's been a while, but I'm back and I'm really excited to be making a video for you today. And there's 4 things that I want to talk about. 2 being a couple things I got for Christmas, and then of course the return of My Chemical Romance, and then lastly, an idea I have for a comic book. Let's just get started. Because I've been gone, but I'm back. So the setup of this is interesting. You can't see it, but the camera's actually in a mirror. So what you're seeing right now is the reflection of myself in a mirror, because it's just easier to do it this way because the way the camera is, and I can't see anything. So let's just talk about a couple of things I got for Christmas. So the first thing I got, because I'm getting more into comics, which is what this video really is about, because it's all related. I got 2 comic books that I really wanted for Christmas, and the first one I got was the Umbrella Academy Apocolypse Suite, and can you see this? Yeah. I really liked it. This version has some original art from Gerard Way, and I think it has a couple of like 1 or 2 page stories and then a Christmas story. The Christmas story is my favorite. I actually like the Christmas story better than all of Apocalypse Suite. That's not to say that it's not good or that I didn't enjoy it. It's just the Christmas story is so freaking fantastic. I loved it. My background is actually in filmmaking, and that's like my #1 passion. So the way that a story is composed in filmmaking and in comic books is really different, and that's something that I'm having to get used to. I'm learning how to read a comic book, how to absorb it properly, because to me, reading a comic, it moves really fast. I get the feeling, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I get the feeling that comics are not meant to be consumed all at once. I feel like you are supposed to just get 1 book at a time, reread it a few times, and then move on to the next one when it's released. And I don't think that's a flaw of this book. I think that is just how comics are formatted. And I'm gonna reread this again, but I really enjoyed it. I love the humor that's in it. It was just so full and rich, and it's just like weird. It's weird, but in a good way, you know? The other comic I got is The Crow. This is a special edition. There's lots of extra stuff in here. There's like an extra scene. There might be more than 1 extra scene, but for sure 1. Lots of extra art. Lots of stuff. Lots of stuff. This is actually the first comic that I read. I read the first 3 books of this before actually getting it. I read it online, which you shouldn't do. I know. I don't know a lot about comics, but I know that you shouldn't do that, you know? So, The Crow, I have seen the movies, and I honestly did not know that it was based off of a comic book. Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't know that. I was listening to some, like, Kevin Smith podcast or something, and I think he was actually talking to Gerard Way, and they were talking about some of their favorite comics, and they mentioned The Crow, and I was like, what? The Crow is a comic book series? The movies aren't great, okay? They're really not. But the story, the premise, the concept is so... it's just really cool. So I was excited to know that this came from a comic book. This one is really special to me because right now, you know, filmmaking is my #1. That is my passion. That is what I want my career to be in. It's my one true love. You know what I mean? But I'm really unhappy with it at the moment. I am feeling like it's all very political. It's all really shallow and about money. There's some kind of soul or some kind of art that's missing in it. And I know that there are shows and movies out there that have this missing piece that I'm talking about, but there's something, I can't tell you the last time I watched something that inspired me as a human being. You know, there's lots of stuff that can inspire me with its technical aspects, like with the cinematography or their performance or, you know, whatever. But I cannot tell you the last time something inspired me as a human being. And that's something that I really want and that I've really been missing, and I sort of realized that. So I started looking at other art forms, and that's sort of how I came across comics. This has whatever that piece is that I feel like is missing for me and a lot of the stuff I was consuming. I had this realization in this scene of the comic book with the horse and the train. And the horse runs into the fence, and it made me cry. That's the thing. It made me cry, and I thought that was really beautiful because that's something I haven't felt watching film. And it's kind of sad to not love the thing that you love at a point in time. I know that it's temporary, but I'm just kind of stuck with it because basically, you know, this year I worked on a lot of projects and not a single one of them was my own. And I was thinking, well, I should just write something, because I know if I write something, I have the resources to make it, you know? And I just wasn't having any ideas. I came to comics and I just thought, how beautiful that just these images. There's not even really dialogue in that scene that I'm talking about. And I just thought it was really special that I could feel so much just from some pictures. This also sort of made me realize what comics could be. And it sort of just changed my perception of what kind of stories you can tell. There's so much like pain in this, and there's also like joy, and it's just very graphic and violent, and it like I said, it has that missing piece, and so I'm excited to read all of it. We'll get into the other thing, and the other thing is the return of My Chemical Romance, and I feel like sort of embarrassed to talk about this and to say I really love My Chemical Romance, and just that, you know, kind of being a little bit embarrassed by that. Let's examine why. Well, they get put into this group, right, of being like this emo band, and I guess they are. It's because they get labeled as this emo band, and I understand. I get it, they're an emo band, but I really do love My Chemical Romance. So they have reunited. I got on Instagram and I watched live streams, and it was great. It was great. It was wonderful. The whole comic book thing, I have to admit, is really influenced by the fact that I started listening to My Chemical Romance more. And this is before, see, this is what I'm saying, like it all comes together. This is before they announced they were reuniting, and so whenever I started listening to their first album, and then they announced that they were reuniting. Gerard Way has said that music for him is like a therapy. You can hear that, and you can hear how it progresses, and it kind of, there's this resolution in it. And I think that when you hear it, you kind of sense and what you're hearing is like this healing thing that's happening. I think it's just this weird subconscious like energy thing, and I think that's why My Chemical Romance is so special to people, because it really is like this healing thing. So their first album right now is probably my favorite, and if you look into the history of that, the time and the influences that were around the album when it was made, you know, there was 9/11, and it Gerard Way has said, like, after that happened, it was just, he just sort of looked at his life and wasn't happy with what he was doing, and was like, I want to do this. I want to make this work. I need to get my life together because I'm lost, you know? And I think that's sort of how I feel. That album was created from, like, this special place with, like, these emotions and these feelings and being in a specific point in your life. And that's exactly where I'm at. So even though I wouldn't describe what that feels like the way they did, I understand it comes from the same place, and so it's really nice to play that album and then just to know like it's the same, you know. I don't know if that makes sense. And also because I'm creating this idea I have for my comic, I'm creating that from that place, so it's cool to listen to something that was also created from that same place. I don't know, does that make sense? It probably makes sense to some people, I don't know, whatever. And all of that does actually relate to this comic book that I want to do, and this is why I like My Chemical Romance so much right now. They were like roughly my age when they made this album. Being where I'm at now, coming out of a lot of stuff that I didn't realize was affecting me so deeply, like from my childhood, that's where this idea came from. The specifics of it all I don't want to share, because I don't think you should do that. If you have a really good idea, you shouldn't just share it with the world before you're done. You know what I mean? It is really personal, and it's not fully developed, and I don't want to be talked out of it. I have never felt this way about a project or something I've been working on, ever. Like, I am so excited about this. I don't know. And I just keep having ideas, and I just feel like this is really coming together. And I feel like it's something I can actually do, that I can actually make. I'm sure, like, as time goes on, I'll talk about it more. But right now, I'm still just, you know, when I have an idea, I'll write it down, and I'll sketch out a few things, and I'm working on my art too, because I'd really like to draw it myself, and I don't know how realistic that is, just because it will take so much time. But I'm getting it all out there, and I feel really great about it. I feel really, really great about it. You know, filmmaking and everything, that's still like my number one, but it's awesome to have like a personal project going, and I don't know, it's really nice when, you know, things in your life just come together, because you know, I started listening to My Chem, and then I was listening to these podcasts, and then I was reading these comics, and I had this idea, and then I was thinking, you know, well, I have this idea for a comic book, but I know nothing about comics. Like, is this something I can actually do? I wasn't sure, you know what I mean? And so I went to bed, and then I couldn't sleep well because I was, like, my mind was just racing with all these ideas. And then, you know, it was morning, and I kept waking up, and so I was, like, half asleep dreaming. And I had this idea for this specific scene, and I'm like, oh my god, I really love that. I think this really could be something. And that morning, you know, after I got up, after I made the decision, I'm gonna do this. I don't know how. I don't know how. No idea what I'm doing, but I'm gonna make this story. And as soon as I had that thought, I was on my phone and I was on Facebook, and then there was a comic book convention in my town. Like, what are the chances? And so I went to that, and I walked around with, like, a little notebook. Well, I can't find it. I can't find it, but I walked around with a notebook, and I literally, like, took notes on everything. And I, you know, watched all of the guests that they had, all of the demonstrations, all of the speakers, all the Q&As. I was there for all of it, and I loved it, and I learned a lot, and I'm excited. I feel really good about it. And like I said, I think it'll take at least a year to have it all together and have it in a book. Be like, these are my sketches, these are my ideas, this is the script, whatever. Here it is, all in one place. I think it's going to take a year to get there. And we'll see where I'm at in a year. Oh my gosh, my ankle. I was sitting on my leg, my ankle. Oh my god. I'm okay. Okay. I guess for this video, that covers it all. Those are the 4 things I wanted to talk about. My 2 comics, My Chemical Romance, and the idea I have for my comic book, which I didn't actually talk about. I just talked about having an idea. But, yeah. It's good to be back. It's good to be back. I want to make more. All of these things I will talk about more in the future, I'm sure. Because it just consumes my life lately. But yeah, I hope that you've all had a lovely holiday season, and if you haven't, I'm sorry, and just know you're not alone, and it will be over soon. There's one more holiday left, tomorrow, New Year's Eve. And then you get to start 2020 fresh. By the way, just so you know, 2020 is supposed to be a historic year, because, like, Mars is going to spend, like, 6 months in Aries or something, and, it's, I don't know, watch out. Watch out. I'm a Pisces, so it's supposed to be a good year for me. Hopefully it's a good year for you. I sure hope so. Because that would suck, like, if you had a really lousy holiday season and then you had a lousy year. I don't know. I'm sorry. I hope that's not you. I hope that's not the case for anyone. I'm back! And I'll be back with more. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe. I have 46 subscribers. I would love to get to 100 subscribers. You can also follow me on Instagram. Down below, I will link to, like, my Linktree thing, and that will actually bring up all of my social medias. So you can click on that, and you can follow me on Twitter or on Instagram. I recommend Instagram. I'm most active there. So, yeah. Happy New Year! Happy New Year! And I will see you guys soon. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.